recording. And then I'm going to, you know what? I already went through the quiz last night, so I have answers. They're not corrected. So just know that what you see is the best figuring that I could do with the help of Christian, Bailey, and Megan last night. So everything that you see here, I hope that you question it. If you, I'm looking for other insights and perspectives. For the most part, the four of us had identical questions last night. So I'm hoping that there's no real outliers. Otherwise, the statistical probability of the four of us having the same quiz with different quizzes being available would be pretty impressive. So on that note, there are 12 questions and we're going through text mining. So the first question that I have is, which of the following would be the best statement describing term frequency? And our general consensus was the number of times a specific term appears in a corpus. Now, does anybody have anything different? Does anybody have any different ideas? Or do you want to talk about why we chose letter B? Nothing? You guys all good?
Yeah, I have the same thing.
Yep.
Or
That's
the same thing.
All right, perfect. The verbal responses are appreciated because I stopped trying to read minds long ago. My carnival days made my hair fall out. So thank you for that. Just for the people in the cheap seats, we chose the corpus because the corpus is the body of the documents. And we weren't looking for percentage of words in the corpus, just the number of specific terms. Number two, what does the term frequency inverse document frequency do? And we came up with it defines documents with frequent occurrences of rare terms. And there's, it was practically, I think literally written out verbatim in either the book, the slides, the PDF, or something. But we found it expressed directly as that. Did anybody find anything different?
Yeah, I had the same thing. It was on page 488.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. Thank you.
Same.
Perfect. Then for 3, which pre-processing phase includes removing words such as and, is, a, and the results? And we came up with stop word list formation. That was in the book.
Yeah, that seems to be correct. I also worked on video sentiment analysis. I don't know if anybody knows. Most likely a lot of people know. So removing stop words, most likely we would have come across something like that. So
Yeah.
I think it's the right answer.
Yep. Good. All right. So a couple points of validation there. These I never liked these. There's a lot of you know, skepticism in what they are and what order they're in. But for the various aspects of text mining, we chose 1, 2, and 3, that does all 3. That the text and documents are gathered into a corpus and organized is step 1. The corpus is analyzed for structure, and then the result is matrix mapping important terms to source documents. And then the structured data then analyzes forward structure, sequences, and frequencies. But the corpus is analyzed. We know that this is number 1 was the first one. We know that we found in the book that, you know, the analyzing the structure is the second part, and then the structured data analyzes the forward structures. So we chose 1, 2, and 3. Did anybody get anything different? I will take
the same one.
You have the same one,
And
Scott?
pretty much the same rationale as you.
Same
The third
rationale.
one I was a little waffly on, but
Yeah,
Quite
yeah.
sure, but it made sense to me that, you structure the data by doing that
The
bag of
wording
words
on
and all
these
that kind
things
of
is so
stuff.
tricky. A lot of these definitions, a lot of these answers come down to like your interpretation of a single word and how it could change your answer either way. But it's reassuring that no one said no, you're dumb, it's something else. Number 5 is alive. What is bag of words referred to as? We came up with the representation of text that describes the occurrence of words within a document, not the meaning of every word, and it's not a set of unstructured data. So A was the only one that made sense. Tell us. For various reasons.
Yeah, I selected this one.
You got that one too?
Yeah.
All right, thanks, John. All right, if there are no dissension in the ranks, then we'll go on to number 6. What kind of tasks are we able to perform with text mining? And we chose 1, 2, and 3 as well. Text categorization, text clustering, and concept entity extraction.
Same.
Same? Cool. Any differentiators? Any alternative thoughts? Any other rationales? Speak now or forever hold your peace. Then moving right along. Okay, so what kind of method is text mining? Supervised, unsupervised, or automated? And I will tell you why it's flagged after I hear your thoughts.
I had unsupervised because my understanding of supervised learning is that we're labeling the data. And if we're considering the lab or even the questions it's giving us, like the tweets and customer reviews, like none of that's labeled data. And the whole purpose of text mining is to actually do the clustering, categorization, topic assignment, and stuff like that. And that's all, to me, unsupervised things. That's why I went with unsupervised. I myself couldn't find this anywhere in our lectures. So
No.
I did that rationale plus a little bit of Google searching, and I was like, this seems to be an unsupervised thing. But I was going to see what you guys were going to say.
We did the same thing. We did the book, the slides, the PDFs, and even went to the old Google box, but we found both supervised and unsupervised.
Right.
And automated does not mean both supervised and unsupervised. So we are waffling. I mean,
So this is my idea about it. I found both supervised and unsupervised, but I lean more on supervised because
We have a target.
so if we in terms of sentiment analysis, right, where you want to find what is in the text, let's say social media data, you can do topic modeling. So in there, you do topic modeling where you actually look for the topic that is being talked about.
yeah.
And that is like you basically finding what your target variable, what you really want to find out. So although I have found part of it that says it's supervised and part that says unsupervised, I lean more towards unsupervised.
Okay.
I always
All
felt
right.
like words are unstructured text, and you would always do unsupervised stuff for unstructured to try and find patterns.
I'm willing to. I mean, at this point, it's 1 point. I'm willing to kind of lean either way, but I still have my pride. It's like I want to.
I did supervise too, mainly because I mean, I just Googled out and it did say it's supervised learning.
Right. So I mean,
Right. Oh, I think I'll just leave the justification to that.
I keep hoping that like this is one of those questions that when we answer it, like if we answer it, that either of them is the right answer, not just one, but like both would be counted right. But I know it's not going to happen. I know there's only one right answer out of the 3, but I'm kind of stuck on supervised, and I'm hearing good arguments about unsupervised, but I think I'm willing to take a bullet for this one and say if it's a point, it's a point. But if it's the only one that I'm still have questions about at the end of this review, I'll leave it as supervised, but if there's one or two others that I have up in the air, then I'll probably change that to unsupervised, just because I want to improve my odds.
So Tony, and like I have logic, like as we have a target in this case, we'll go with the supervised. Like in the text mining, we have a target.
The supervised for the text mining, Sajal?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, in the text mining, we're using supervised fields, so supervised data, and I don't know, man. We're gonna find out when we submit this tonight. We're gonna find out one way or another. We're gonna find out. I'm gonna leave it flagged for right now, and if anybody has any epiphanies between question 8 and 12, then let me know, and we'll go back and talk about it some more. But I think that one might be where battle lines are drawn. Number 8, select the correct sequence of the text mining process from the task below. And we went back and forth over this. I thought initially it was 1, 2, and 3, but then I got, after talking to Christian and Megan and Bailey, that we came up with 1, 3, and 2, that we established the corpus first, we mine the term document matrix second, and then we structure with the term document matrix third. Does anybody, or I'm sorry, yeah, 1, 3, and 2. So did anybody get anything, hopefully the same or anything different?
I mean,
Establishing the corpus, mining.
I went with 1, 2, then 3. Wouldn't you want to create the structure to your data before you try to use the classification, create a model essentially, creation or clustering model?
If we're establishing the corpus first, bringing all the documents together into a corpus, and then mining that term document matrix, and then structuring. So the sequence between establishing, mining, and structuring is kind of what we were focused on. So you're not going to structure before you mine. You're going to mine before you structure. It was a semantics thing, and it's why I hate these so much.
So, I mean, to me, it was kind of like, if I'm taking the example back to the lab that we just did, right, where we, consolidated ER and emergency room together. Like, if you're doing 1, 3, and 2, I would say 2 is that step, right? It's the pre-processing of trying to actually clean the data and structure it in a way that then I can mine off of that. So it's not counting ER twice in 2 different meanings. Like, I already took that time to kind of structure my groupings together and stuff like that after during the pre-processing. I thought 2 would be essentially pre-processing the data.
And that's kind of where I was, Scott, when I went through this myself beforehand. That I saw a bag of words in the second page of the chapter, and I thought that has to be one of the earlier steps before the classification and the clustering. But I heard the argument that the mining is ultimately before the structuring. So I want to say 1, 2, and 3. I mean, that's my gut instinct. But again, it comes down to 2 points, and I'm already looking at 1 point up here. So what do I do?
Yeah, kind of similar to what you were doing. I was kind of using our chapter headings.
Yeah.
So it's like, 20.1 or whatever is doing that corpus thing. 20-3 or 4 is pre-processing the text, and then after that, 20-5 is implementing the data mining methods.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You've kind of given me the confidence to go back to my gut instinct there. I'm going to say that I'm going to go with 1, 2, and 3. Does anybody else have any theories or rationales that have not already been spoken? I'm genuinely interested in hearing it if you do. All right, Scott, you win the prize of changing my mind, or at least reinforcing my initial impression.
Yeah, I could probably be the canary for this one since I have all the most of the
Well, you already been the canary though. We got to find a couple. We got to find a new canary. It's considering it's the last quiz session of the semester. Someone who hasn't canaried themselves should do the honors, unless you're struggling with the grades. I understand that. Question 9 was pretty straightforward. It was in natural language processing, the process of converting a sentence or paragraph into tokens is referred to as tokenization. That was basically in the book.
That's tokenization.
Yeah,
Same
Yep.
thing.
cool. All right, then number 10, which of the following is not a pre-processing technique in natural language processing? We went through this quite a bit, but ultimately sentiment analysis is not a
Yeah, that's a post-processing. Yes.
Yeah, that's the correct one. Yeah.
Yeah, we again, we got hung up on the semantics a little bit and got thinking too hard on it, but sentiment analysis was the winner for that one. Number 11 is one of those collected the data, 10,000 rows, tweet text and no other information. You want to create a tweet classification model that categorizes into the tweets in 3 buckets: positive, negative, and neutral. You've created a document term matrix of the data, treating every tweet as one document. Which of the following is correct in regards to document term matrix? And again, we went with all 3. Removal of stop words, normalization, and converting all the words to lowercase will not affect the dimensionality. And I'm trying to say that we found this written relatively verbatim somewhere, and I don't necessarily know if it was in the actual reading material, but all 3 of those were identified somewhere, either in the reading, on the slides, in the PDF, or on the Google Docs. Does anybody have anything different?
Yeah, I got hung up on number 3.
Yeah.
And the fact that she like specifically underlined the not, it's like
Yeah.
to make it stand out. And I did some Google researching, whatever, because I'm thinking like, well, one sentence case, or even the word like it, like describing a thing versus IT, right, are 2 completely different words. So, I mean, if you don't automatically lowercase everything, like in general programming, to kind of transform the thing, to kind of treat them as the same, then they're treated as 2 distinct words, which in my head would increase the dimensionality of the data, because now we're like two different things. But even if it's just like Apple with an uppercase A or all caps Apple, if I'm not automatically lowercasing those, then how does the program know that those are the same thing?
The way I was looking at it was that if we removed words, we're decreasing the size of the document and the overall dimensionality of that,
Exactly.
ultimately of the term matrix. So if we're just reducing the font, it's how much cell space it takes up. It's not the same as reducing the number of attributes. If each word is an attribute of a document, and we remove attributes and that make that document smaller, then we're decreasing the dimensionality. But if we just make an uppercase or lowercase, it's still the same cell space. It's still in the same key space in the cell. It's just a smaller letter. So for me, the lowercase not affecting dimensionality made sense, which is why ultimately we wound up going with 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, I see it that way too. I associated dimensionality with size in terms of if
Yeah.
nothing is being changed.
Yeah, like
So
sheer just volume of data, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm kind of.
So in your example, you like if we're using that bag of words matrix, right, where every word is a line, a row, and then you have the document as your columns, like you wouldn't see an all uppercase word in the exact same word, like all lowercase, that it would create 2 different lines, 2 different rows. you see it as like it would know that they're the same and they're putting them in one row. Because to me, dimensionality would be like thinking in like rows and columns. Like
But
how
on
big
that
is this
note, though,
matrix?
Scott, on that note, I've seen it stated kind of, I want to say like hypocritically, where I've seen it stated that the row is a document and the columns are the words. And then I've seen it saying that the columns are the document and the rows the words. So there's in the readings, there's already some kind of discrepancy. Now, the first thing that I read, the first term that I read about the text mapping in the documents was that the row is the document and the columns are the words. So if you have a sentence or the document laid out linearly, and then each word in that document is in its own column, and then at some point those words are going to line up with other words like that in the same column. So dimensionality depends on the orientation and ultimately the volume of data in whatever orientation it's in. It's tricky, it's wordsmithy in that not with the underlined not right there is just kind of I don't know, I think that's a psyop, it's a psychological operation. I think they're just trying to mess with us and get us to make a foolish mistake, which I am known to do.
Yeah, that's kind of what it stood out to me. Like,
yeah.
Like, why can't you just say what? Why does that be the opposite there?
Statistics. I mean,
Why can't you just say converting all the words in lowercase will affect the dimensionality? I don't know.
I was talking to her the other day, and I was like, you know, my goal in life, when all this is over, is to figure out a way to make statistics easier to learn and understand. And she told me that the statistician mafia would probably hunt me down and break my legs if I did that, because it's meant to be an impossible, you know, a difficult Hays class. It's not supposed to be easy because it was never easy for them. So they're gonna make sure it's not easy for the people that come behind them. Jerks. All right, well then.
Hey,
you're
Tony,
all-
I
Yes.
think only 1 and 2 are correct because I Googled it, the question, I got the right answer.
And what was your answer, Alvaro?
It's saying like stopper removal will decrease, that's correct, and formulation of words in the data will reduce the dimensionality, that's also correct. So, but it's not telling like what's the reason.
So you're just saying that 1 and 2 is the answer and not 1,
Yeah,
2,
1 and 2.
3? Okay. All right, well, now Abarad's throwing another poker in the fire. We have another option to consider.
Well, that makes it all better, isn't it?
Yeah. All right, so either 1 and 2 or 1, 2, and 3. We're gonna
think
find
1 and
out.
2.
All right, then.
I think it's 1 and 2. When I was doing the lab work, I did see in the mining list, I saw the same word with different uppercase and lowercase as the first letter in 2 different rows. But I'm not sure if there was any other difference between those words. I'm not able to recall. So even I ended up selecting 1 and 2, but I'm just not 100% confident.
I don't really know if anybody is confident right now.
Yeah.
Barnum. I think our now it's 2 points, so you know it's one of those. At least it's not 5 points, but still 2 points. It's dodgy. All right, well you're kind of convincing me about 1 and 2, but I'm still on the fence about that number 3. I really am.
Oh, we'll take a chance and submit it.
I know, roll the dice, but I gotta say, I'm not a good gambler. Whenever I gamble, I don't choose well. So every time I argue with Christian, then he winds up being right and I look foolish. So I was like, I have to trust that my instinct for these questions, I'm not a good quiz taker or test taker and multiple choice. I can find a rationale for every answer in that list. So I'm gonna waffle for a minute here. Number 12. Support vector machines result in low training error and work very well with new data sets. Now, we saw this in the PowerPoint slides. It mentioned support vector machines, but there was another thing, and I can't remember what it was. Maybe if I actually open the file. There's another thing.
See, I got true, but it was by reading that slide.
That slide kind of messed up. It's like you feel good about your answer, then you suddenly don't.
Yeah,
So that,
I mean, it said, let's see, it finds the hypothesis with the lowest probability of error that overtraining a sample occurred. All right, so the first part of that is what's in the slides. Like it will result in a low training error. So the lowest probability that the sample was overtrained, essentially. And then it gives the definition of overtraining as having a low training error and high error outside of the training sample.
This is what I was looking at.
Confused as well. Yeah, no, I'm confused as well.
Yeah, you did not make that any more clear or any easier.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
So for the question says, support vector machines result in low training error and work very well with new data sets. Now, here we have structural risk minimization principle results in low training error. But for support vector, there's nothing about low training error. So I said false, or we said false, because the low training error was associated with the structural risk minimization principle.
I mean, is that a separate thing than support vector, or is that just an attribute
it's
of what a support vector machine does?
Yeah, I took this as two separate things. That the support vector finds hyperplanes separating training, and structural risk minimization principle finds hypothesis with lowest probability of error. So I took it as two distinct things. I don't know if both of these things are considered support vector machine. Again, if anybody has an insight into that, I am dying to hear.
Tony, I thought we found, and I could be wrong, I thought we found that in the PDF or the PowerPoint, I can't remember. Basically that was explaining something else. Like, yeah, we have those words in one of the presentations, but it was explaining something else, I thought is what we found.
Yeah, Jordan, tell her.
I don't know.
No, I'm looking at the PDF right now, but I'm trying to, was it in the?
I can't remember.
In the PowerPoint?
I think it was what you were just referring to, that slide.
For the PDF, this one? Yeah, buddy. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'll mute myself.
No. He's fine.
There you go.
He's part of us. He's part of the class.
He makes us all smile.
He's like our little mascot.
As he stuffs his face.
Oh, lucky. That's my boy right there. Eat up, buddy.
I feel like he's making the sound I would expect a support vector machine to make.
That's right. Yeah.
Right. Last time he ate this, I sent Tony, Christian, and Bailey a picture of how messy he was. So that's what he looks like again, Tony.
I have a picture of my son when he was 2 or 3 years old, and he was eating spaghetti and meatballs, and his face is just covered with spaghetti sauce, and he's got that big old, turned up nose and big old happy cheeks. I mean, it's my favorite picture of him, just looking like a big old saucy meatball.
He's eating like squash ravioli. He can't have dairy, so it is everywhere.
Eat up, buddy. Enjoy that. Give your mama something else to clean up when you're done.
He's gonna be 1 in 2 days. I'm like,
that's crazy.
It's crazy.
Time flies when you're on the run.
No. Yeah, I don't remember, Tony. I remember we found this and it was explaining something else. I just can't remember where we found it.
Yeah. I know when we found it, it was pretty definitive, but then I'm trying to go back now and show where it was, and I can't find it, so I'm losing my confidence.
Yeah. I mean, I just kind of like that slide that you were looking at, like the header of the slide is support vector machine. I assumed everything on it was talking about how those operate.
Yeah, but you know what they say about assumptions, right?
Yeah, I know. It makes a lot of asses, especially out of you and me.
No, don't throw me into it. It makes ass out of you and umption. Leave me out of it.
Well, correlation doesn't necessarily mean causality. So.
Causation. I knew someone was gonna throw that in there. Thank you. All right. I can't find anything else in the PowerPoint slides. Almost makes me wonder why we even have these things sometimes. It's like in these quizzes and labs, very few of the actual answers come from the reading material.
All right, I'll just switch to false. I think when I reread that slide, I feel like it's opposite of what this question is saying. So
Let me bring it back down. Where I put that slide.
Right, so at the very bottom, it's saying basically what it's trying to do is find the hypothesis with the lowest probability of overtraining, I guess. Yeah. And then it's saying that overtraining is when you have a low training error but don't perform well on a test set. So if we're finding the hypothesis with the lowest probability of overtraining, then that would mean what a support vector machine is doing is having a high training error. No, dang it. Now I'm even more confused. That doesn't make any sense.
It's like
why would you want a high training error? Well, I guess you would want a high training error if it does well with real data instead.
Well, you don't want it. I think you kind of expect it, but
yeah.
You know, you're going to have the training error. Then you have to kind of do your micro tuning to get that error down.
Yeah, and it would make sense to try and, like, if you can't use data science and a training data set, what's the purpose of it? Like, you're not really fitting any model. You're just blindly doing something and praying that it works.
If I was a smart person, I would just go with my initial gut instinct and call it done. And then, but I sit here and then I can go back and forth. And then, like I said, I can find a rationale or justification for every answer that's possible.
It's the true and false questions that always get me, so I'm gonna go with yours.
They all get me.
I'm gonna go with it, like you said. Like, I'm not a gambling man either, and every time I've gambled on these true false questions, I was getting wrong. So,
yeah, buddy, I hear you. Laugh out.
Jordan thinks we're funny. Hey, we got a 50% shot.
Yeah, but we have a lot of 50% shots that could, you know.
I know. I know.
All right, is anybody feeling brave?
I can submit, Tony.
Okay.
I wouldn't mind being the canary too, but I have to join on my computer. Let me try to join my computer.
Sorry, what? Do you guys want me to submit?
Tony, will you go slowly through? I just want to double check mine with yours.
Yeah. Yes, Aparna, go ahead, because I mean, I think we're all.
Okay, here we go.
Go.
Number one, we went with.
Oh my God, it's terrible. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, stop that.
Come on now.
I don't want to be dramatic. I'm just gonna share my screen, Tony.
Yeah, let me start sharing mine. Oh, Aparna.
So that was 13 out of 15, not bad. But the first question is incorrect.
Okay,
Great way to start. It says page 485 of the book.
45.
That's a little surprising.
Listen, you just should have chose A. Just say that.
Oh, did I say the wrong one?
Number
5. It's not talking about that at all.
Number of times a specific term appears in a corpus You chose the one that we all were talking about. Is it number of times in a particular document?
I don't know.
No,
There's no way I'm gonna go
It-
back to the book and search.
it is. It is. Like if you,
What's
I use
this?
DuckDuckGo. I use DuckDuckGo as my search engine. All I do is type in term frequency, and it literally says term frequency is often used in text mining, NLP, and information retrieval. Tells you how frequently a term occurs in a document.
Oh,
I mean, that's annoying. Like literally, we just should have
okay.
Googled
But
it.
Oh,
I owe somebody from last night an apology, Megan or Bailey. I don't know if it was you or Christian that was talking about that, and we talked you out of it. So sorry, my bad.
okay. I'll move to
So
the
is
next
it
one.
document, not corpus?
It is document.
So this,
Okay. We
but it's
couldn't,
not percentage of words, right? It's
It's
this.
not percentage of words. No, I know that. Sorry, at least I feel strongly about that, but you know how strongly my feelings are. I could be an insane person.
Okay, so it's that one. The second question, that's correct. It identifies documents with frequent occurrences of rare terms.
All right.
Third
Top
is
word list.
top word list of formation.
Good.
Fourth, oh yay.
Four
It's
it is 1, 2, and 3. Okay, see, I was right the first time, Megan and Bailey. And thank you, everybody, Scott, everybody else for convincing me to go back to my initial gut instinct.
Then this is the representation of text.
Occurrences, okay, good. 6 is 1, 2, and 3.
Nice.
Look at that.
Okay.
All right, 7. What happened
Ooh,
with 7?
okay.
Okay, so it is not supervised learning.
I'm just wondering if it's automated learning.
For all this, all the going back and forth, watch it be that.
Yeah. Because it could go both ways. So
And it is. It does. That's the thing. It's like what kind of method is text mining? It's both. It's both statistics, people. It's both. Where's that A and B now? Where's that 1 and 2? Right?
Yeah, and it's automated. What is automated learning?
Exactly. That's why I
yeah.
wouldn't answer it, because I don't
Yeah,
remember ever
because
reading
I
or hearing
looked up
about it.
different things and they explain different things.
I think they're referring to automated as a machine learning term, not a text mining term. So that's where we kind of got we stayed as far away from that one as we possibly could. But again, I'm sure Christian probably gave the right answer and we just ignored him or fought him tooth and nail.
I could do unsupervised and be the next area. I don't mind. Let me join first on my laptop so I can share my screen in case it goes south.
okay, so we'll park this one. I'll continue with the 8 while he brings the screen up. 8 is 1, 2, and 3. He was
Okay.
right. Got it right.
Great job. Great job.
Then 9 is tokenization. 10 is sentiment analysis.
Good. No. Okay,
And
here's the big one. What's this?
this
It
is
is
1 and 2.
Okay, excellent. Excellent. Good
Thanks,
job.
Aparag. Then false.
False. All right.
In a true 50-50 fashion, Tony, we would have each gotten 50% of our questions.
I know. If we were in Vegas, we'd have to like bet at the same table and then split the winnings. There's only way. All right.
Should I stop sharing? Or did
Yes,
you
yeah. Thank you so much, Aparna, for doing that. You did a noble thing there. I appreciate you.
So question number 7 should be unsupervised because I submit on automate because I believe in 2, but the right answer must be unsupervised.
Oh,
Question number
okay.
7.
You chose automated and that. Okay, all right.
Yeah. So it should be unsupervised. I believe it's both.
I'm going to submit mine then with the number 1 as appears in a particular document, and then number 7 as unsupervised.
Okay,
And I will tell you what.
my fingers are crossed for you, Megan.
Waiting now, y'all. Okay, I got 13 out of 15. So number 1 is particular document. Dang it, I forgot to change number 8 to 1 and 2.
Oh.
Wait, no. My number 8 I had wrong, but I probably didn't change it.
Number 8 is 1, 2, and 3, right?
Yeah, I put 1 through. I had 1, 3.
Oh, okay. You
That's
didn't.
my fault. But number 7 is unsupervised learning.
It is unsupervised. Okay. All right. I got 10 out of 15.
I'm so nervous to hit submit.
What, 10?
We changed
No,
so many
I'm just
answers.
kidding. I'm just kidding. I lied. And this attempt only took 1,527 minutes. I mean, that's kind of a speed record for me.
Okay, that's my favorite thing to look at. Mine took 1,490 minutes.
Yeah, you rushed. That's your problem. You rushed it.
Well, I did.
Oh my gosh, guys. All right. Well, that has been an adventure. Thank you all for that. Do we want to go into the lab review now, or do you want to wait until Sunday?
I'm done with the lab. I just need to verify the answers. If you guys need help to go through in this call, I'm happy to
Okay.
jump in. But I do need to take like a 5-minute break and then come back.
I'm gonna stop this recording. I'm gonna stop the recording, and then I'll do another. We'll come back. It's 6:50 right now. I'll come back. Let's come back in 10 minutes, and then we'll do a walkthrough of the lab results, and then if there's, we'll still do another short session on Sunday if people need it. But I'm trying to get these things done and turned in so that I can work on my essay in my other 2 classes.
Tony, if you don't need me to go through it, please continue. I can be on the call. I'm just not in front of my laptop for just 5 minutes.
No, I want to. I want to go through it. So let's just do like a simple walk through the lab. Just go through the answers, and there is, just between me and Megan and Bailey and Christian. Bailey and I had similar answers, but not the same. We had some that were the same, some that were similar but or close. But our results were different from Megan and Christian's, who were using the online version with their Mac. So even though Bailey and I were using the desktop version, some of our answers were the same and some were completely different. So we can't go through this lab and expect that we're going to have exact answers with anybody or everybody. We should expect that there could be a lot of differentiation between everybody based on versions and hardware and whatever. So keep an open mind. But let's be back here at 7 o'clock, and then we'll do the lab walkthrough.